shame my dad into putting in a... That's true. So, I grew up without having a lot, materially. I had an incredibly rich life. A rich life in the sense of I had everything a young boy needed. Had my favorite dog, Shetland pony, and acre after acre of country to just go explore. I had a Boy Scout troop I belonged to, and I mean it was a fabulous place to grow up. Paint Creek was out on a farm to market road, 13 miles I think into Haskell. Across the farm to market road was a Methodist church. 400 yards to the east was a Baptist church. Your choice. Pick one. That was Paint Creek. I mean, it was a wonderful place to grow up. My scoutmaster was also the president of the school board, and he was the superintendent of the Sunday school class. My high school football coach was also my basketball coach, my track coach, my civics teacher, the principal, and the bus driver. So that's Paint Creek. That's what I grew up around. I watched neighbors take. I saw people who, for whatever reason, that needed help from a neighbor. That's the kind of community I grew up in. I left there. I went to school to Texas A&M University to be I actually went to school to be a veterinarian. And after my sophomore year, organic chemistry had a little Y in my life. I tell them, I said, organic chemistry made a pilot out of me. It did. And then I had a great privilege to serve this country as a pilot in the United States Air Force. Then I came home, farmed with my dad, and then meant to go off and just do a few years of public service. My dad taught us about public service. My dad was a 18, 19-year-old in the Army Air Corps in 1944, early 45. He was a tail gunner on B-17s. He flew 35 missions over Nazi Hitler Germany. As a matter of fact, his bomb group was the first bomb group over Berlin, your college town, in 1944. And he came home. He just wanted to live in peace, be a farmer, get married, and that's what he did. And so that public service came from people like my scoutmaster, who was also a Army officer in 1943, 44, 45. For my coach, who was a Marine in the Korea conflict. I had these individuals who taught me about public service and giving back. And that's what has driven me over the course of my years. 35 years that I have been involved in public service, either as a member of the Armed Forces, state representative, the agriculture commissioner, as Mark said, the governor of the state for 14 years. And I'm 65 years old.
You look right.
Over.
No, he doesn't.
I've been in public service. About 5 months ago, I was at an event in Washington, Judge, and a national reporter came up, and we were visiting about the house that Anita and I are building out in Round Top, which is 70 miles east of Austin. And I was explaining to him what it is, a fabulous place. It's 2.5 miles outside of Round Top, and Round Top is population 90. This is rural. And my two best friends from college live out the front door, about 200 yards each on a tangent of about 60 degrees out the front door. And you walk outside at night, and it's what I call country quiet. You can hear the frogs croaking and the coyotes howling. You look up and the sky is just brilliant with stars. I mean, the constellations just pop out. It was a fabulous place. Rolling hills and live oaks. And those of you who know that Fayette County area, it's just a fabulous part of our state. And he was listening to me describe this. And he said, that sounds incredibly pastoral and peaceful. Why would you want to get back in this mess? And, you know, that is a legitimate question. Because the truth be known, no one would criticize me if I went to Round Top, Texas, sat on the back porch, and enjoyed that pastoral life. But I didn't want to have to give the answer. 15 years from now, when my granddaughter is going off to college, and she asked me, what were you doing in 2015, Grandpa, when the country was getting off the track? That I was sitting on the porch having a bourbon. That's not the correct answer. Ronald Reagan made an extraordinary speech 40 plus years ago. He talked about that there were two paths that this country could go on. One was a path of progress and positive and bright, and the other was our children taking the first step into 1,000 years of darkness. He said, regardless of which path we find ourselves on, do not let it be said about us that we weren't doing everything that we could, everything that we could do to put us on that path of righteousness and brightness. That's what